scheduled for one fall with no time limit.
Super hot fire!
The greatest spectacle in podcast entertainment, Mr. Nestlemania.
That was literally verbal diarrhea. I'm setting the bar awfully low. Titus O'Neil keeps running directly into that bar. Get him off my TV, get him off my TV. You make me very angry.
The man who has a better IQ than you, the awe-inspiring JC.
You should go work for WWE because you'd be so up far up Vince's
No.
Oh, you are such a sucker. You defend everything, all the bad moves they make.
This is the Jobber Knocker Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker Podcast. As always, it's Nestlemania. Alongside for the ride is JC. We are very close. I think we're a week or two away from the Royal Rumble.
Let's get ready to rumble royally. It's, you know what? You know what's frustrating right now? This is like the most exciting time of the year in wrestling to me. Like, I like this more than WrestleMania season because the Rumble is just so much fun. And I don't feel it yet. Feel it yet. There were some things that I felt it this week. We're going to get to NXT UK Takeover because there was some shit on that was absolutely super hot fire. I even told our boy Cap, because he normally doesn't watch this stuff, There are 2 matches on that card that he has to watch.
Has to
watch. We'll get to that. We'll also get to AEW, NXT, and all the happenings there. But we start this program in a certain way, and it's with my girl, and...
You'll always be in my shine. Mwah.
A little loud there, but we'll get used to it. We're actually not going to start with that. That was my favorite part of SmackDown. SmackDown. But my favorite thing of the week... This is going to shock you. So pick your jaw up at the floor before I say it.
Should I drop it, then pick it back up?
Yeah, drop it like it's hot. So, you ready for this?
Yep.
It was my least favorite thing last week. This week, Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar, and R-Truth. That segment gave me all the giggles, all the ROFLs. Even though I was in my bed, I was rolling in my bed laughing. It was just...
That's a weird visual, by the way.
Yeah, don't visualize it.
Well, now it's in my head.
Well, because I was... Never mind.
But oh, boy.
It was that segment. First of all, it started off great because the crowd was into it. Like Heyman and Lesnar eating up the crowd hating them. It was a great start to a segment. But then out comes R-Truth. And you're like, oh boy, what is this? And there were 3 things about this promo that I absolutely loved. 1, R-Truth isn't looking at either of them. He's staring at the camera the entire time cutting the promo, which I thought was hilarious. 2, you could tell Brock Lesnar was fucking enjoying the hell out of this. He was legitimately laughing at everything R-Truth was doing. And then the twist at the end. He was cutting the promo on Paul Heyman in such an R-Truth fashion. Like, the way he was selling it, you're like, okay, maybe he actually thinks it's Brock. Then he thinks it's Heyman. He enters the Rumble, takes himself out of the Rumble. It just, like, there was so much about this stuff that I loved. He doesn't want to go to Sioux Falls City. It was literally like R-Truth one-liner after one-liner, and everyone felt good. But then it ends how it should. Brock beat him up. Did not win the 24/7 championship, which would have been great. But, we come back from commercial. Mojo, new 24/7 champion.
You're sliding this in? Yeah, this is a shine for you?
That's part of the shine. It's the end part of the shine. I mean, when we talk about newcomer of the year for 2020, Mojo Rawley's got to be on the list because this guy, what a debut. He's only been around for a few weeks and he's looked great.
What world? What world do we live in?
I don't know.
What world do we live in?
This is the first time I've ever seen him.
Oh my God.
But yeah, no, it's all about Heyman, Brock, and R-Truth.
For a segment that I thought was going to be very, very, very rerunny.
Exactly.
It was much better than I expected. It didn't really add anything in terms of Brock, like, oh, okay, we're doing something for the Rumble, whatever. And he comes out and he does his little hopping and he does it, whatever, and he, with a belt and everything, whatever, But they get to a point with R-Truth, and I went, because it was funny, because like Paul Heyman just took the fucking scenic route with that promo, and he kept fucking hitting, the truth will set you free, and all this stuff about the truth, spoilers of the truth. So I was sitting there watching it going, okay, something's going to be happening here. I did not expect R-Truth, although when he hit the F5 part, I did giggle, but I was thinking to myself, okay, somebody's going to come out and do that whole thing. They did a really good job, I think this week's particularly, and then of course we'll probably talk about the ending of Raw at some point, where they interluded kind of like through the night things that were necessary.
Yes.
This one was like they did a better job like after the breaks, making things okay. I got to stick around to see what.
Well, that's what I liked about it is because if they would have just had someone run in and win R-Truth right after that, it would have taken away from the the effectiveness of that segment.
Right.
So I like that we had a commercial to let it resonate, and then we come back, and Mojo wins it to bookend the segment on the other side, but it allowed it more time to breathe. And that's one thing. Like, there's so many things that on Raw that are going to be in the heat. But I will say, I've noticed, just like pretty much the last 2 weeks, the pacing and the effort, let me put it, doesn't mean it's always good, but the effort by the writing staff and creative, it seems like they're trying.
Right.
They're giving us a lot of different things. They're involving a lot of people. They're trying to move things forward. And when they're not moving something forward like this, they're trying to make it entertaining. That's always been my big thing with Raw, is we always talk about filler bullshit where it doesn't move anything along and it's not entertaining. This didn't move a storyline around, but this was probably the most entertainment segment, talk segment on Raw in probably months, maybe even longer than that.
Wow.
Because legitimately, I was fully entertained. I did not expect it, because like I said last week, it was my least favorite part. R-Truth, I enjoy his shtick, but the effectiveness of it being with Brock and the twist on him actually talking about Heyman, it just hit all the right notes for me. And so Raw is getting better. It's not there, but at least we're seeing the effort. And I guess it's maybe because it's WrestleMania season, but yeah. I think that's the theme the stuff that we really like this week, it's because they're making an effort with certain storylines that maybe aren't the best.
I do really hope, though, that they take their moment in the Royal Rumble to kind of not just keep it Raw versus SmackDown, but try to hit on as many Raw and SmackDown storylines while in the Rumble for both sides, women and men. That's what I want.
That's why I hope the Brock one, it's the beginning of the Rumble and that's it. It's the kickoff of the Rumble. It lasts a couple spots, but then it's over with and we move on.
I don't know.
We don't know, though.
We could see him all the way to 30.
Yeah,
you never know.
Wait. They could bookend it. We don't know, but that's my hope, at least for that, a mini hope.
There were two matches on Raw that I really enjoyed specifically. One, I will say, the triple threat that turned from the Mac out of nowhere. That's what I will call this.
Return of the Mac.
So I am not a huge Mac fan, but this, like we talked about last week, this baby.
You're becoming one.
I'm a secret closet baby Mac fan. That I am, because it's funny. I think just the Scottish Terminator thing doesn't resonate with me as a fan.
Because it's not. It doesn't. It feels forced and fake. Right. It's that bullshit. It's when they gave Finn that shitty nickname or Shinsuke. Yeah. It doesn't fit. It's let him just do something.
Right.
Let action speak for how he is.
I did appreciate the 3-2-1 thing from last week, and he kind of implemented it this week against AJ and Randy. But the real story was AJ and Randy, and the Mac, which I was confused that the Mac won out of nowhere.
He needed it more. He needed it.
But it was nicer to have that happen because it makes Randy and AJ the same because they both lost, and it makes the Mac up to the level or close to the level of an AJ and Randy Orton. So when I watched it, I went, you know what? I like that. And that was a triple threat match where it made a lot of sense, psychology wise. It made me as a fan go, okay, I know the story they're telling. I can get behind it. It doesn't need to be so crazy where everybody's doing all these flips and dips and dives. This was a match where it was boom, something happened, and then another thing happened. And then it was paced so much better than most of the stuff I've seen. And I really, really enjoyed it. And it even the beginning where AJ Styles was super comfortable cutting a promo, and it made him and he was doing these facial expressions. Are you kidding me? I'm phenomenal. I had an RKO that was better than your. I love that stuff. When you can physically feel it, when you're watching somebody enjoying what they do, that's where I can get lost into it. So that match for me, I got lost into it, and I loved it.
And I want to say with this, and the reason why it felt like that, I think, to me, is because we're talking about Randy Orton and AJ Styles. Two of the best all-around, top to bottom, every single category, absolute best in the industry. And they just know how to... They're not just out there wrestling. There's so much more with both those guys. And McIntyre's a guy who's incredibly talented and rises to the people he's with. So like you said, it was they threw these things in a pot, and it was delicious. But I will say, you buried the lead. Orton hit a Styles clash. You want to talk about mark-out moment of the week? Yeah, I marked it because, first of all, it's Randy Orton who's very much just does his moves and does his things and doesn't stray. So the fact that he did it and he executed it seamlessly, I was impressed. And I thought it was oh shit, because it's just, I wasn't expecting it.
Right. And I think for the people at home, especially for me, it went from a match where I will probably never remember it to a match that I'll recall. And I think that's the important thing. I think when I'm watching Raw or SmackDown, there's not a lot of stuff that I'm going to remember in the year. And that's why when we go to Match of the Year for the Knockers, it's so hard because we always go to the pay-per-views.
Yes, and TV matches are hard too because you lose that time in commercials. Right. I think that's what always writes those off. But yeah, no, this had a moment. You talk about in matches making moments. This was a moment where it was like, that's never been done before.
I hope so. Here's my one worry about this. I know that the Mac kind of just slid in and took the W, and that's it. And he's not really in this story.
Yes, but they're all in the Rumble, so it's pumping up that, which is what this should be about.
But I feel that there's a disservice happening here for the Randy Orton, AJ Styles. I'm hoping I'm wrong. Like, I really do. Is that we get to the Rumble, and then we're going to have to pick back up
each other out. This is a feud that is clearly going beyond the Rumble.
Yeah.
And the Rumble's just a way to extend it. And that's why I like the injection. I always talk about this with feuds. I hate when it's just like back and forth every week. This week they injected a little McIntyre because it gives it a little juice. It pulls you in a different direction a little bit so you're not overexposing that actual feud. It's still there. They get their thing in. But a guy like McIntyre takes advantage. He gets a little shine as they're trying to build him as a Rumble favorite. So I understand what you're saying, but I kind of like it because if you want me to invest in a 3-month feud, I need little stopgaps along the way to keep it interesting.
Sure. Speaking of keeping it interesting.
Hey, you're right.
I mean, you
what did we say last week?
You did. You sat here on this program and you said, look, if you're going to have a third match, the other guy's got to win. And I was watching this match going, he ain't fucking winning. Out comes Alistar with his diarrhea green gear, fucking does whatever the hell he wants, which again was fine. I didn't even mind the package that they did beforehand.
Honestly,
it was fine.
I will say this because the reason why I really like that package is because there was new content in it. They had those sit-down interviews, which those were way better than any of Alistar's shitty behind the back. Like them hyping up this match, them two talking about it, and the way WWE production shoots this stuff. Like I felt this feud, and I was like, okay, now I want to see this match. Because I said last week I didn't really care. That video packages are supposed to make you care. It made me care.
It was interesting to me because there was a lot of things that I enjoyed about it, but the one thing I really want to harp on was that this was the best for a different reason. It was nice to me because the second one I thought was kind of it was just another rerun. Yeah. This third one was very physical. They went outside. Alistar Black landed on a lady in the front row. I mean, there were so many different things that I can recall about it that I really enjoyed. But the crowd wanted it to continue.
Yes.
And when Buddy was essentially knocked out on the side and he wasn't getting back in the ring, and the minute he was able to get back in the ring, the crowd went fucking bananas because they were like, yes, we get more of this Smash Mouth wrestling. And I watched it from a different point of view than most people because I watched it as somebody that had the logic of, okay, if I was in that match, how would I want this to go? I couldn't have dreamt up that to be a better situation for either man. The referee kind of fucked up the ending with the shoulder, but it happens, and they were quick on their feet, and they definitely made the best out of that situation. But what the real story for me is, I'm sure we'll talk about later. I don't know how you feel about it, but having him slide out and stay there as what the hell am I going to do?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go there yet, but I will say, how they did that, the next match that came, he's still sitting there, and then it tied into the main event. That's what I'm looking for, because let's think about this. This was the end of this feud. Alistar won all 3 matches, so he's clearly on the up and up. Buddy Murphy lost 3 in a row. But what do? Even though he lost those 3 in a row, he's come out of this feud like a star. People want to root for him. They like him. They want to see him more involved. So what you do is they found a way to put him into something else. So now he is part of something else. He's elevating that something else because that something else was starting to get stale. So now there's another little wrinkle. So it's just, this is what I mean when they're putting in effort and there's thought. You can tell it's okay, there's been a fundamental change in that writing room with some of the stuff where I'm seeing improvement. And I haven't seen this improvement in years. That's exciting. I don't know if it'll continue, but at least for this week, I really, really like the way they were doing that.
But we're not going to talk about the rest of that stuff because I don't want to.
Yeah, so when we get there, we'll explain why, because there's reasons, but there were parts of it that I did like. But where would you like to go next, sir?
I'm trying,
I will say this. You are a big credit seeker.
Credit seeker.
Yes.
You're right. I am.
And you deserve some credit this week.
I do.
If you guys read the article on jobberknocker.com about our ridiculous storylines, a little Nestlemania tidbit.
Yep.
Well, it happened on Raw.
Yep.
Like I said, my favorite part of Raw the last month or so has been Eric Rowan. And he had his typical jobber match with the cage. He tried to show the jobber. The jobber didn't, tried whatever, so he got mad. But then he went over. He stuck his arm in the cage, and it came out all bloody.
Yep.
Because he got bit.
Yes.
And then he bloody palm slammed the jobber, which was great. But yeah.
I can't even hit the jobber alert button because we didn't even get a name, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, I can hit the jobber alert, but I'm just going to go, I got
We'll
nothing.
save it for later. We might hit it again.
Yeah, I probably will. But there's something about this where when I saw it, I went, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Now listen, this ain't no make-believe, but I like to think, even though I live on planet Flafluga, that, you know, you always hope that somebody listens to what you want to do. Now, granted, the rest, go over to jobberknocker.com and read the article, because what I wrote was clearly never going to fucking happen. But the fact that they took the little thing, it's either they read the article
Vince
or
listens to the knocker. Triple H reads the knocker.
Yes.
And everyone else does both.
Or one of the writers reads the knocker.
They all do.
Or, this is the scarier part, folks.
Oh, boy.
Nestlemania, I am on the same wavelength as Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
You know why?
Oh, no. I don't want to know why.
Well, I mean, what's in the box? It's our weekly segment. You're the man who came up with the idea. Let's hear where we're going, baby.
So I have to tell you what's in the box from what I said on jobberknocker.com?
Well, yeah, or you could change it on the fly now that you have more information. As a detective, as new facts come in, you can adjust your thoughts. I mean, you're the detective. I'm the guy on the side with the monocle.
You are the monocle.
I have a fake monocle.
You are the Monopoly guy. That's exactly who you are. Look, there's so much that I want to happen. If you go over to the article, you'll see it. It's stupid, but I love that version of it. I don't think that's going to happen. When I watched it, I went, okay, it has to be something like a rat. It has to be something that bites. So in my head, it went right to rat. It went to maybe a rabbit. It went to something.
Eric the Snake Rowan.
There's no way it's a snake. There's no way it's a snake. It has to be some type of ridiculous, like farm or woodsy animal. It's not gonna. It would make me laugh if it's a beaver. It's not going to be a beaver. But there's some
beavers bite.
Well, they
chuck wood.
They eat wood.
Woodchucks chuck wood.
Yeah.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck? Woodchuck could chuck wood.
13
a
words.
woodchuck could chuck lots of wood if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
There's something wrong with you. I just want you to know that.
There's a lot of things wrong with me. That's
so. When I thought about the bite, it was substantial. It was substantial. A bite that took up most of his hand. Although if you saw him do it, he just kind of like hit a button and it came out. But
ketchup dispenser.
Yeah, exactly.
Yummy.
Catering.
That's why the jobber was licking his lips after he got face
Catering strikes again.
Yeah. Maybe it was sriracha sauce.
So let's put this together. It spits and it bites. It spits and it bites. So
I spit and bites. Ain't me.
Well, it spits and it bites.
I spit and bite. Can you milk me?
I don't know. But so it makes you think, what spits blood? What bites? Right? It has to be some like random. Maybe it's a bat, right? Because a bat, I think, would spit some type of something. It also bites. But that like I don't think anything can spit or bite besides a human being. Maybe it's a weird.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe it's like a cross species. Maybe it's like a snake and a something else, like mixed. Maybe we're getting like a hybrid, like new species.
Here's an external hope from the outside from 3. This is Nestle way back. What I would like to see next week.
It's a brick.
How dare you, sir? Heat check. No, I would love to see some type of boil or some type of burn on Eric Rowan's hand. Taped up hand, maybe next week. Add a little bit of drama for it, and then little Dramamine, a little Dramic, and add it because I think again, as you said, you can prolong this, you can make this more exciting. But the more things happen, I'm watching, going, what spits and bites? I don't know. I mean, you could probably name a couple of
dirty jokes.
I was going to say a couple of girls, but that's not happening.
Nasty.
Yeah, why would you bring that up? Ew.
Got this weird thing where it's like I can't hear a damn thing.
Really? I hear everything. It was really loud.
Okay. Well, I can't hear anything now.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Okay, well, that's weird. That sucks for you.
Yep.
Now I can't hear anything.
There you go.
But we're going to keep talking.
Yes.
But yeah, do you have anything else to add, Detective?
Oh, that's so much better. Sorry. So much better. So there's not much more I can add with Rowan because I'm thinking about it. I'm worried about it, but I don't know what spits and bites. So if anybody at home knows, let me know.
Tweet at Jobberknocker, at JC of the JK, at DQ of the JK, at
right,
Red
we're
of
not
the
doing-
JK,
we're
at
not
Billy
doing-
D2411, at Joe Pollock 47,
Jesus
at
Christ.
TJ of the JK, at the Real Deal B Cox.
I
Did
can't
forget
deal with
anyone?
you. Yeah, you did, but we're going to move on, so it's fine.
I'm not.
Give me something good. Give me something else that you like.
Are we done on Raw?
Sure, I don't really know much more. Really?
The best part of SmackDown is Mandy Rose and Otis.
Okay,
it is the
that I will
best
allow.
thing on the planet. We had another dream match with Mandy and Alexa, but that's not the story. Mandy won off the Otis distraction. Big things coming for Fire and Desire.
Oh, Jesus.
But it's just like she baked Otis a cake.
As fast as she could. No, she didn't. So here's
baked Otis
here's
a
my
cake.
logic. Here's my logic.
Okay.
First off, that was a cake from a supermarket.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Okay.
She lied.
You know what? Hey,
she
no.
lied.
Maybe she baked it at the supermarket because she's on the
the
road.
fuck are you
She's on
talking
the
about?
road, man. She doesn't have a house that comes on the road.
You're
she
gonna
goes,
tell-
No. So Mandy, being very resourceful, goes to the
No.
supermarket and says, "Hey, cook people, can I
Hey,
bake a
cook
cake
people?
for my friend?" And they're like, "Yes, you can.
No.
You can even write a nice message on it."
Erroneous.
So she did that. She brought the cake to Otis. He was very thankful because she's a great friend. So the friend returned the favor by coming out just randomly. By the way, Tucker doing a good job doing his thing. Be like, "Otis, what are you doing?" But what came after the match was one of the most incredible 30 seconds of television I've ever seen. Otis just palming that cake, dancing to Mandy's theme song is, if you haven't seen it, watch it. And then if you haven't seen the version with like sexy music underneath it,
I haven't seen that
It's just
one.
like Otis dancing to Mandy's song, eating cake is probably one of the greatest things that the internet's ever had. It is just like this storyline is absolute super hot fire. I want all of it. I'm literally eating it up, pun intended. Oh,
It is
give
not.
me it all.
So here's where I think this is going. Or if it doesn't, it's stupid.
I hope it never ends. This is great.
So here's what I want. So Mandy said she baked a cake. She did not bake a cake. She bought
don't
it from
know
the
that.
supermarket.
No, you
she
don't know
had
that.
it in one of those. She had it in one of those cases.
Because
cardboard
she went
cases,
to the supermarket and asked for help.
Because she bought a cake, even though she said she made a cake.
She
That
made
right
the
there
cake.
is that right there is a telltale sign.
made the cake.
She doesn't care about Otis.
Yes, she does. She's
no,
a nice
she
friend.
does not.
She does not love Otis like he loves her.
Ooh, that's where we're
Yeah,
headed.
that's
though.
his peach queen, as he calls her.
And if you notice, she put like if she did it, it's one of those cakes that had like heavy machinery, like Caterpillar or like random ass like digger, like like the what do you call them? Like I can't even think of the words. Like construction
truck.
Yeah,
shit.
like whatever. And so like
Heavy machinery?
exactly, it was heavy machinery, but it was just like the heavy dig kind of things. And I was watching it going, well, she didn't make that. She didn't make
Bulldozer?
that. So here's bulldozer. That's the word I was looking for. So she wanted a heavy machinery cake. You know what you do when you go to a cake? You go up to the supermarket. You say, hey, my son is having his first birthday, his 5th birthday, his 12th birthday. He likes heavy machinery. And it's not Otis and Tucker on the cake, but it's stuff like that. That was a supermarket cake.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's the thought
She
that counts.
said she made it.
Yeah, and she did. Okay? You take credit for
Lies.
things all the time.
Lies.
So Mandy, absolute
Lies.
stud. Otis, absolute stud.
Lies.
Keep this going forever and all. Like this just literally
It is fun. Although
it is the gift that keeps on giving.
I will say the match between Alexa Bliss and Mandy was slop.
It was fantastic.
awful. It was
I don't know what you're
terrible.
talking about. I thought it was
Fucking
great.
atrocious.
I'd watch those two fight any day.
Atrocious.
Always in the shine.
Atrocious. That's what it was.
What else do you like from SmackDown?
Well, let's see. I'm sure you're gonna hit a button again when we talk about the Fiend and Daniel Bryan. So that's that.
You want to talk about it?
I mean, we certainly can. You just wanna dance. I think you're hurting my floor. What did my floor do to you? What was that little?
Well, thrust action at the end.
That was not PG.
You got to keep it fresh, bro. You can't do the same dance every time. You got to keep it fresh for the viewers.
They can't see you.
Oh, but they imagine it.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible.
It's not terrible. It's greatness.
All right, so let's get to this whole thing about the Firefly Funhouse. They are going back and forth, and he's talking about how love is great. I love the Firefly
Funhouse.
Flowhouse.
Aaron Hernandez Flophouse.
And but he does not love Brian. And he says, first I made him remember, then I made him change, now I want him to hurt. And he's going to pay at the Royal Rumble and all that stuff, which I totally understand, and that was the end of that segment. But here's where I like to dip my toe in the detective pool, so to speak. We have this backstage promo with Daniel Bryan says he knows he can beat the Fiend, knows he can do something different than everybody else, and then we see this random thing on the screen behind him where Rambling Rabbit is saying, hey, Daniel, I can show you how to beat the Fiend, and all that stuff. And Ray, of course, being the positive person he was like, I was asking people, I'm like, so how do you think you can defeat the Fiend? And Ray Ray was like, dude, you're the detective. You have to tell us. And
Yep,
I was
he's right.
So Ray Ray was saying to me, hey, you should do that. And so anyway, if you look closely, the Fiend is nowhere to be found in this segment, but Bray Wyatt has the hurt hand and grabs him and squeezes him. There is symbolization there. And as we find out later on, Daniel Bryan is in the back and sees a present and opens it, and it is Rambling
What's
Rabbit.
in the box?
What's in the box?
All detective segments are now What's in the Box segments.
What's in the box? So Rambling Rabbit has now been dead for, I believe, the third or fourth time.
Yeah. Who killed Kenny? Rabbit.
Exactly. So here's where the logic in my whole thing is. It's not sexy. It's not exciting. It's just plain old normal. He said, I can help you beat the Fiend. But in my head, I thought, how can you beat the Fiend? Do you have to go inside of the Funhouse to do it?
With a 2x4.
With a 2x4.
I don't know. Just spitballing here.
Okay. Here's what I would like to think. I think the message that the Fiend and Bray Wyatt say the same thing, because they're technically the same person, they just don't know that they exist.
Yowie wowie!
Right? So what my thought would be is they both say what, JC?
Yowie wowie.
No, you moron. They say, let me in.
Let me in.
Let me in.
Yeah, they say that all the time.
They say it all the time. So here's what I think will happen. As I think about it, Seth Rollins technically beat the Fiend. Or they stopped the match or whatever the hell that was. It was close. In my opinion,
I choose to
it's referee
misremember.
stoppage.
I misremember.
So he was the closest to beating the Fiend, apparently. Right? So the reason that happened was because Seth became unhinged. You have to let in the deepest, darkest parts of yourself that you don't like. You have to reflect. You have to be let in. You have to let the Fiend into your hearts, to your soul, to everything in your body. You have to give up everything in you. Sure.
Okay.
You have to give up everything that you do, the way that you've been doing it, because it ain't working. You don't play against those rules. You can't have normal rules against the Fiend. You need to have the Fiend rules. And the rules of the Fiend do not exist. There are no rules, folks. You have to go.
Oh, shit.
You have to go to that place that you don't want to go, to the belly of the beast, to the darkest part of your brain, in order to even have a chance at beating this man. He's not even a man. He's a beast, right? So you can't have that logic. Like if you're going to hunt down a serial killer, you don't just, I'm going to do it by the book, folks. You got to do a little outside the box.
You got to do this.
I'm going to knock down this door and kick you in your vagina.
Wow. You dusted off that old chestnut.
It's still there. Might as well use it, you know?
Exactly. Well, you never know when you're going to need a good kick in the vagina, apparently. So, look.
Kick in the box.
Exactly. What's in the box? Ah! We might just label this one What's in the Box. It's fine. We're talking about it enough.
Talking about all the boxes.
All the boxes. Check all the boxes off. So, look, there's so much about this that I think is super normal. It's just you let them in. But nobody has officially really, they've tested it. It's like Seth has lost and became something different. Finn lost and did something different. Brian
Miz has changed.
Right. So people who are getting a taste of the Fiend and losing change. But in order to beat,
So he's like a disease.
he is. So in order to
like
beat
it.
this disease, you have to do something different, and you have to fully become something that you do not want to be in order to beat the Fiend. That's what I think is
So
going to
it's
end
not
up happening.
as simple as shaving your beard and cutting your hair.
No, I think
Okay.
there needs to be a more metamorphosis of Daniel Bryan that we are going to see. Somebody's going to beat him. Not him. Here's where I'm nervous because this entire logic may be thrown out the window in like 3 months when, I'm not going to hit the button, but I'm going to do it. Nope.
Yeah, you're going to fail at it.
Here comes the big dog. The big dog, Roman Reigns.
Unless the Fiend has rabies and this big dog comes in here and fucking roughs all over the place.
You beat Roman Reigns with fleas.
Exactly. No, it's just like, I don't know what kind of thing they're going to have there, but like, it's going to be weird.
A dog pound match.
It's a dog pound
Dog
match.
pound in a cage match.
The kennel.
Yes.
The kennel
A
from
kennel
hell.
match.
Yes, they've had that before with Al Snow and Big Boss Man.
Oh,
It's something
boy.
I
Yes,
tend to
I
forget.
do remember that.
So look, that's how I feel. I think letting them in is one thing. I hope and pray when we eventually get to Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania that we get to a point of maybe we see a little bit more edgier Roman. Maybe he's a little bit darker because I think that's what we're flirting with here, folks. A lot of people have dabbed, not this dab, Cam Newton style, but they've dabbed in being a little bit.
by the way.
Yeah, anyway. But look, that's how I feel. You got to let him in. That's all he keeps saying. Let me in, right?
Yeah.
If you let him in, he can't hurt you anymore because he essentially has taken you over. So, that's what I think.
I like it. Well, sometimes when you want to be let in, you kind of have to force your way in, and you just kind of lure your way into a situation, and that's exactly what Braun did this week. Finally, Shinsuke Nakamura was in a match. Wasn't for his title, which he's never defended, but Braun beat Nakamura. He held up the title. Sami Zayn had a great little thing where he stole it and ran away, but it appears you're getting closer to finally making that title somewhat relevant again and putting it on someone who's at least on TV every week.
I don't have much to add
That's
about
shine
that.
enough for me, but that's all I got.
Anything else? Because I think I'm tapped out.
I will say it is nice to have the Usos back because they are a joy to watch wrestle. I thought this match, it was given quite a bit of time on SmackDown, but then we realized why. Reigns attacked Corbin for the DQ, so Corbin gets another win. Fucking stud, guy's unbeatable. Always in the shine.
Always.
Then we got a return of the one and only Glorious. No mustache. I was hoping he'd bring that back, but I guess on a month, steroids probably causes hair loss, so whatever he took. But
I think it's more hair. I'll have to talk to people I know who have done steroids.
I know other things shrink, so yeah, maybe hair replaces that. Maybe hair follicles replace other stuff, but I don't know. But the heel stood tall, yada yada, whatever.
Okay.
Thoughts?
Don't care.
Okay.
There's certain parts of that I actually did enjoy.
Yeah, like I said, the match was actually pretty
But
good.
there are certain things that I'm not excited about, but it is what it is.
This feud just feels like...
It's never ending.
Yeah, and hopefully I think the Royal Rumble might be the capper because they're having a one-on-one match, which Corbin accepted, and then they're both in the Rumble.
Damn it.
Yeah, so...
Oh,
yeah.
whatever. Whatever.
Is it time?
It's that button. Get him off my TV! Get him off my TV! Get him off my TV!
It's your time to kick it off, baby.
Rapid fire.
Where would you like to start?
Well, first off, we're gonna hit off with the one thing I hate more than anything. That's not true. I hate a couple things more than I hate this guy.
A lot of things.
I hate a lot of things. I don't like John Morrison. That is something we all know. He comes out, does his whole thing, and it's just not even slow-mo, by the way. They killed the best part of what he does.
I know.
No slow-mo
I don't
for
disagree.
JoMo. It's terrible. It's
Oh,
fucking
slow-mo
atrocious.
for JoMo.
I should be a commentator. Anyway, look.
Aren't you a commentator?
I'm
You just play one on TV.
I'm taking a sabbatical, as you know.
Oh,
so
okay, that's right.
So look.
Going to Brazil. That's
Yes,
what people spend their
yes,
sabbaticals.
exactly.
Don't drink the water.
Yes. Good to know. So I'm gonna be sitting here watching this, going, "Oh, good, I hate this already." So I have to preface this with, I hate this man pretty high up on the food chain. Like if I had a Nestle hit list, this man's got to be in the top 10. Has to be.
That's actually not bad for him. I thought he'd be higher.
Well, I say top 10 because I'm not trying to limit it to just wrestling. There are certain things in life that I
Okay.
really don't like. So he's up there, mainly because he's just, in my opinion, overrated. So he comes out, does this thing, looks like he hasn't washed his hair in 45 days.
His hair is fucking amazing.
Whatever.
Leave
Comes
his
out,
hair alone.
Looks like he fell in the Tanzer, bronzer, whatever it is. Whatever. And he comes out, does his whole thing, and talks about The Miz and how good The Miz is, and da-da-da-da-da-da.
All facts.
All good stuff, fine, whatever. And then,
Yeah,
of
it
course,
wasn't great stuff.
And then, of course, we get to the match where the New Day and everything, and it is what it is. But then here's the caveat. This is the part that I was just like, look, if somebody's good, I'll be the first person to admit that I'm wrong. So when I was watching this, I went, Big E and Morrison are on commentary while Kofi and The Miz are in the ring.
Yeah.
This was fucking atrocious. Yeah. Like, it was so bad, I just couldn't deal with it. And I think the most telling part was they went to break, and when they came back, those two were not on commentary anymore. They were in their partners' corners, cheering them on. And then, of course, it ends with this random-ass JoMo does some parkour off the second step into a fucking whoop-whoop flip into somebody. It doesn't look like it hurts them at all. It's just like, look at how cool I am with the things I do.
That's half the moves in wrestling.
Awful. Fucking bad. Fucking terrible. It's just not good. There's nothing that this guy can do.
That's okay. You're going too far now. I will say this. I was interested in this last week. This week it didn't do it for me. The segment was weak. There were parts of it that were okay, but it didn't click this week for me. It didn't work. None of it really worked. Miz getting a win worked probably, but it just didn't work. You're going too far with completely trashing this man.
No, haven't gone far enough.
Because there are things he does well.
Haven't gone far
Because
enough.
your issue with him is that you think he's overrated, so you're going to the other end of the spectrum, and rather than saying that he's an above-average talent that people want to be more, and he just isn't. There are some people that he just hasn't been the big-time player he needs to be. When he's been given the opportunity, he hasn't taken the ball and run with it. That criticism is fair. But to say he's useless and worthless is not true.
He's good.
He's very talented.
There's nothing. When it comes to athleticism, sure, he's got it in spades. But when it comes to charisma, Wet
Yeah,
fart.
that's-
Wet blanket.
That's why he's with The Miz.
Yes, absolutely. 100% unequivocally, yes. That is what it is. However, he's been out of the WWE for 7 years.
Okay, he's been underground.
He has been underground. He's had quite an impact in a place that nobody cares. You know what happened? When he came out, nobody fucking knew who he was, even though they played a
for so much shit, though.
They don't care. Nobody
they
cares.
Do that for like,
There's too
they do
long
that
of a
for
break
so
from
many
him.
people.
And you know what? Nobody's going to care about him. You know why? Because he's
That's
going.
not true. People want to get behind him.
Here's what I'm going
A
to
lot
tell
of
you right
people
now.
want to get behind him.
Here's what's going to end up happening. He is going to be Shelton Benjamin. He's going to be excited that
He's
you're
not as
there.
good as Shelton Benjamin. Now you're going too far.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Shelton Benjamin's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, and guess what he's doing? He's on
Yeah.
main event. That's where
And
that.
actually he was on Raw last week.
Well, whatever.
I don't know if you remember. Match of the year.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot.
We are going to talk about a Match of the Year nominee later in the show, but yeah.
I'm just saying there are certain things about him. I don't want to waste more time or air on this man. Let's move on. Elias, in my opinion, the worst sing-along he's ever done in his career. The babyface keeping rhythm with the crowd and not rhyming and
He
keeping
doesn't
rhythm.
have rhythm.
It's so bizarre. And and you know what? When we went to NXT those couple years ago, and we were like, holy shit, this guy's great.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
He was great, it was like the early part of last year, man. He was like the hottest thing. That's why going to WrestleMania was so exciting. This segment with Cena, like thugging on it. Like it was just, his character works so flawlessly as a heel. I just don't, I get like, it's trying something different for him. And the one thing I wanted to give him a chance this week, because The Miz did kind of reality check me on my Elias takes, because he said the one guy in the company that he thinks, he's like, Elias, what he can do is just on another level. He has that it factor. He can control the crowd. He's like, the moments haven't come for him yet. I know he's frustrated, but it's coming. And so I'm like, okay, I do agree with that, because we've seen it with him. We've seen him be the best thing on the show. If the wrestling can come up to snuff, maybe. But right now, what they're doing with him, like, it's just, I don't care. I don't want him to be a good guy baby face. Like, I don't want that. Does anybody want that?
No.
He is such a good as an asshole heel who just comes out and, like, we're going to cheer him and then he'll immediately flip us to a boo. Like, that's the beauty of what Elias is. They're not putting him in his strengths. And
Well, what the biggest cardinal rule is, because he's now a babyface, they cut his nuts off, essentially.
Yes.
They made him change what he was.
neutered Elias.
They did.
He's been, what do they call it?
Who
Spayed
wants
and neutered?
to neuter
Yeah.
Elias?
Yeah.
That's
Price is
exactly
right.
what they've done, because that's why Stone Cold worked, right? Like, he didn't change anything. The crowd just started cheering him. Just keep him the
They do
same.
this all the time. They do the same thing with The Miz.
Yeah,
like,
keep 'em
name
the
any
same.
great heel when they tried to make him babyface. It's like, don't cut their nuts off. Let them still be them, and we will cheer for them. Make them a badass. Like, Kevin Owens is the only one they kind of do it with. He, like, kind of toes the line sometimes, but overall, he's still Kevin Owens, even when he's a babyface.
Yep.
Only other thing on SmackDown that I remember is Sasha didn't show up, so
Shocker.
more Lacey Bailey stuff. And I
Don't
will say
care.
the little fight backstage was, but this one's lost some serious steam.
I will say the USA bit works for her.
Yes, it
it's
does.
fine.
That worked.
That's a positive.
Play that up.
Pam's doing the best she can where she is, but it's such an afterthought, this whole thing now, where it had steam and it had a thing.
Yeah.
I think it gets lost in the
It
shuffle.
took too long for the match, I think, to happen. And now it's going to be at the Royal Rumble. It'll probably be the most lost thing on the card, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Lacey could actually win.
Yeah.
There's a chance, and we should be more pumped for it, but yeah, I don't know.
I would really love to see Lacey get her moment at WrestleMania. Like, that to me would be kind of a cool thing. I think that having that chase works a lot better, but I don't know if you can. I mean,
They're going to have to pause it at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do that, because there's not much else on SmackDown, a challenge with Ember out and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's so weird. Everything about this is so bizarre. Really, really odd.
Should we go to Raw? Because there's a lot to talk about.
Sure,
on
let's
Raw.
do it.
Where would you like to start, sir?
Oh, God. So the Street Profits do their own thing. It's fine. I did appreciate the fact that they were like, play the Queen's music. Sarah Logan and her had what seemed like a real girl fight. It was crazy.
32X. I don't even know. I can't comment on
They
it.
beat the living crap out of each other. But I will say, and Sarah and Logan, I cannot get out of bed for Sarah Logan. Like, I just don't care. Like, you're not going to ever put her on my television and make me care about her. There's
the only time I'll ever be interested with her is if they stick her with the Viking Raiders, because that would make sense.
You know what? I'll
That is a way
add
to
that.
at least, but like right now with her on her own, like at least with the Riot Squad, like she was the weakest part of that squad, but she was like, there's a reason for me to watch. Right now, it's like I see her fighting Charlotte. I know how this is going to go. I don't need to watch it. 32X.
Right. There is other stuff on here that I'm not really excited about, but I guess we can talk about. We have Lashley and Rusev. This was a whole thing. The one thing that I was concerned with, and it happened, and it was something that I was like, what the hell am I watching here? I know we wanted the Bulgarian Brood. I know we wanted this whole like big thing to happen, but there's something about it that makes me nervous where Rusev was the heel at some point in this matchup, and he was like, "Come on, Bob," and like taunting him and stuff, which maybe that's where we're going here. I don't know, but there's just something about this that does not make sense. This whole match did not make sense.
I can tell you what took me out of it immediately. Is last week they had that promo with Liv backstage where she said she was going to be in Rusev's corner. She was not in Rusev's corner. In fact, she didn't come out till the very end of the match. So it's like, I don't know. It seemed, this storyline this week seemed very lazy. She came out late and Lana just threw the drink in her face. I mean, Liv looked great out of the boots. But it just, Bobby randomly out of nowhere, they're both just sitting there like waiting for something to happen. Bobby, like they always do, which is the worst part of wrestling. Bobby randomly spears Rusev and gets the win. And then backstage, Lana books a mixed tag match. So this is where the problem is with me. If you're going to have this match next week, why would the heels ask for it? This is something where the heels just won. The baby faces are the ones who got screwed. Rusev and Liv should have had the promo demanding a match, and that should have set it up. It shouldn't be Lana being like, I want to have a match. It's like, Lana, you're a fucking coward. Like, that's the whole point of you. Why are you the one being like, I want to book a match and I actually want to fight? Like, that's not in who she is. And like, Bobby had the good reaction to it. I guess they're trying to sell that she's reckless or whatever, but it just...
She's nuts.
For me, there was nothing about this that hit the mark this week.
And I will not be excited for the mixed tag match next week as well.
Nope.
I won't be. I'll be stuck watching it, but I don't want to.
I don't know. They need to wrap this up.
This is Velcro. We're stuck.
Let me put it this way. Liv and Lana thing, whatever. It's kind of fresh, so that'll keep going. But Rusev has to get extrapolated from this and put on his ship and win the Royal Rumble.
Nice hope.
Yeah.
Nice fucking hope, bud. I don't know. Look, the Bollywood Boys got beaten up.
What's up, jobbers? Jobber alert.
In an actual 3 minutes or less of your pizza's free kind of feeling. That's exactly what it is.
I will say I laughed at their entrance, but...
yeah, but there's nothing like... We've gotten to a point where we have good tag teams on Raw, you've talked about on this program, but there's nothing going on. It's just like, we're going to throw the Viking Raiders out there. Let's...
Squash match!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just... It gets to a point of how many... Like, I love a good squash match. I do. I love a good enhancement. But... how many more times can you do that before I'm just going,
here's what you
give
do.
me something?
This is how you do it. And that you can stretch this over a few weeks. It's not the best thing, but at least like we just got through the Street Profits OC, so that needs a breather because I still think the money is bringing the Street Profits back to them and just doing a baby on baby match. I think that would be great. But in the meantime, it's literally natural. You had booked Hawkins and Ryder as the number one contenders for those titles. It never got paid off. Have a couple week feud just to get us there where it's at least it's like, we know the Viking Raiders are going to do it, but at least you're like treating it as like, this is a legitimate title defense as opposed to an open challenge against a tag team that jobs out on 205 Live.
Right.
So it's just like, at least like run that back with those two guys. At least Hawkins and Ryder, like, we know like I said, we know the Viking Raiders are going to beat them, but at least you can stretch it out over a couple weeks to at least give a breather where then you can bring back the OC or the Street Profits or however you want to do it, or eventually AOP. Like they're just failing. These are the types of things on Raw where I talked about. There's so much progress some places, but some of these are just like epic failures.
I can't really say epic failure, but this fist fight
Well, you
thing.
just don't like epics.
Well, I would say I don't like epics, but this fist fight thing, I didn't understand it, especially with the promo backstage and like, what are the rules? And like,
so that's my problem. This is why, because this honestly, this segment probably would have been shine for me if they didn't label it as a fist fight.
Right.
It was a street fight.
Right.
If you would have said next week, we're having a street fight, and literally, like, it was what we didn't even have to sit through entrances. They came out and, like, boom, we were fighting. It was spots. It was fucking this. You have Kevin Owens going off a fucking half pipe.
That was awesome.
That was fucking badass.
That was awesome.
You said parkour earlier. I was like, KO did that, and he did his fucking
He almost
senton.
died,
that
but
was
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Like, AOP picking up, I think it was Kevin Owens, and putting him through Samoa Joe, through the table. Great spot. Like, this thing, it had the stuff. And then we hit on the Buddy Murphy stuff earlier. Like, the natural thing of you're waiting for it. Seth Rollins getting to the outside, kind of looking at Buddy, just going, help me, damn it, help me. And then he comes in and does that low blow to Big Show, and he joins them. Like, this is what we were looking for in this feud, where it's like, okay, we're kind of flatlining. Like, Big Show was a tiny spike for like 10 seconds, but then the match happened. We're back down to flatline. Injecting Buddy, someone who people really like and want to get behind, into this stable, giving it a little more juice, big moment for what is going on in this feud. But it's just inherently heat because you told us we were getting a fist fight. I don't think any fists were actually thrown.
No.
So what was the thought process? Like,
they just get boned up for first evers and things that aren't necessarily like, oh, we can get away by calling this a fist fight, which isn't bad if it was like everybody had to have regulated taped fists. Like, that would have been fine. Like,
they actually threw punches.
Right, and you know, Seth Rollins
used weapons.
Seth Rollins is sitting there with his one love glove there, like just hanging on, like doing whatever the fuck he wants to do, and it's just like, I get it. Like that's exactly what it is. He just sits there. He's like, I'm the Monday Night Messiah, and like,
I hate that, by the way.
But you're
that
supposed
needs
to.
GTFO.
But you're supposed to.
I know, but it's one of those where it's like, yes, I know I'm supposed to hate it, but at the same time, like, it is one of those. It's just annoying.
Yes,
it's annoying.
Absolutely.
Which is what they're going for.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's just, you can still do it. Just don't do it so much.
That's the thing. They're beating you over the head with it. They're beating you over the head with it.
It takes me out of it.
There's so many things. Here's the thing. Especially, it's the promo of him saying it 45 times in a promo.
And the fucking King.
The King.
The King GTFO. You know that Marcus Camby, we do it all the time at work.
Yeah.
Where he's just going like this with the thumb backwards. Every time I hear the King talk, I'm just like, get out of here. Like, I'd rather hear Vic Joseph solo for 3 hours than him.
I don't think Vic Joseph could last that long.
Can we get anyone else there? How about we have a new person every segment? I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're not booked on the show tonight? Let's fucking throw Heath Slater on commentary. I don't give a shit. Like, just not the King.
Right.
Like, they're literally like, I'm watching something, enjoying it. Then he like literally slides in with this thing, and I'm just like,
no better way to say it. Moving on, Asuka had a contract signing with Becky Lynch.
this is a waste of time.
This was to me like, so the lead up with the whole thing. Although Kairi Singh playing the fucking air guitar was hilarious.
I'm glad to see her back.
Yeah.
It's nice to see her healthy.
And then like, you know, Becky leans her out and you know, out of the ring, and she gets out of the ring, whatever. And then Asuka does what I thought was cool. She did the whole spit in the eyes gimmick, and then they leave, and then Becky cuts a promo. Now the promo itself, the way it was shot, the way it was delivered, in my opinion, was very good. I thought that it was eloquently put. I thought it was concise enough for me to go, okay, she's vulnerable, but she's still pissed, and I get that. It's a little bit too much of the same of we've been dealing with for the last 3-4 weeks. However, when she got back up and then had the water in her eyes and all that stuff, I can deal with it. But what do you do for next week? What do? You already did a contract signing. Like, there's nothing else to add here.
It's
gonna be a recap.
I would do a 2-minute recap. I wouldn't even I'd maybe one backstage interview with Becky or something, but there's nothing I want to see with this right now that can make it better, I don't think. Because it just like, the more I see of it, like, after TLC, we knew this match was happening. Asuka gets the best of Becky again. I was like, this is going to be awesome. Every single week progressively since then, I've got less and less interested because Becky has been burying herself in her promos while trying so hard to prop up Asuka. Don't try that hard. Asuka is inherently a badass. If Asuka was still doing all her actions without Becky like self-deprecating herself, like a little bit is fine because I know what they're trying to play, but it's too over the top where it's like, Becky, you just had the most incredible year by a female in wrestling history. Like, the reason why you got quote-unquote stale is because there was literally nothing else left for you to do or you to beat.
Right.
Asuka was like the one thing. That is why it was the most interesting thing. You don't need to go out of your way to say nothing else mattered to do it because it just, I don't know. So
I would have booked this story differently, where it would have been like, okay, you make the whole point of Asuka lives rent free in the head of Becky Lynch,
and that's fine.
And so you get to that point, maybe you have her lose a couple matches because the music plays. She turns around and she loses like a random match against Dana Brooke or something, or whoever's Sarah Logan. I can't think. Somebody. Like, you get certain things like that. Then you interject a new person into it. She has, you know, she gets her shit back the next week in defending her title because somebody beat her, whatever.
Peyton Royce.
Yeah, whatever. Sure, great. You're going to hit the button just because.
It's been like 6 months.
It has been.
What the fuck? Get them on TV. Get them on my TV. Get them on my TV.
You're on, I'm off. Like a switch. Look, so yeah, that's how I would feel. But like that's how you get it to go. Like, you make her the Goldberg Asuka that she was, and then you make Becky feel like, oh shit, I can still do this, but I don't know. And you leave the question up, like, can she do it? I don't know. And that's how you do it. But again, I'm a buffoon from Boston, and somebody in Stanford is going to tell me that I don't know jack shit. So what the fuck? If I can connect dots, at least logically, why aren't you guys? That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Anything else?
Nope.
Let's get hopeful, shall we?
You're my only hope.
So, I'm going to go first. My hope is very simple. as I watched the end of Raw, I thought to myself, there's Jesus, Mary and Joseph, and, Buddy. So I'm looking at it like,
What the fuck?
I don't know. It's just,
Getting biblical on our ass.
right? Like he calls himself the Messiah, the CrossFit Jesus, whatever. So we do this whole thing with his one glove love, and he, hanging out with everybody, doing his thing. And I thought to myself, now this is a good faction. I can see this becoming a faction. These 4 men in suits, or whatever the fuck they're gonna wear. I think that I can see, this is my hope, somewhere in the calendar year of 2020, I would like to see the WWE Championship back on Seth Rollins, the Tag Team Championships on AOP, and the United States Championship on Buddy. Because I think there is a very much, not the same, but a flavor, like adjacent, of evolution in this that I feel. Where it's, Buddy's still younger, Seth has been the guy, and eventually, Seth Rollins will be the Messiah, the guy that has changed the world, yada, yada, yada. And Buddy, at some point, might take him a couple years, but Buddy, if done correctly, could be that Randy Orton that eventually overthrows
I don't know if I can go
Seth
there,
Rollins.
I don't mind it.
It's going to take a long time if done correctly.
Yeah.
But I watched that when I saw the 4 of them together, and I went, evolution is a mystery. Like, I saw it, and I'm like, draped in gold. I can see them all wearing suits with titles, but having Buddy Murphy be that, you're talking about people cheering for him. You're talking about people getting behind him.
People want to get behind him.
Yes. Seth Rollins can, if he stays as a heel, and that Triple H feel of always winning, always on top, get this guy off my television. He's not as good as he says he is. And Buddy Murphy keeps having these matches that people fucking enjoy. I can see it where it's like the AOP has to destroy him. And he finally gets his shit back together. And then he challenges. It's going to take a long fucking time, but I can see that happening. Because Buddy's in that middle card right now. Having a United States Championship because under the tutelage of Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah, makes perfect sense. Having AOP eventually get those tag titles makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
How we get there, I don't know. But when I watched them on Monday, I went, that right there is the goal. Now, the Buddy Murphy thing is mine, but I can see the 4 of them being that thing.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
For a while. Being that heel stable that we haven't had in a long time. So that's where it is. That's exactly where I'm hoping we go. So that's my hope.
Not too bad.
Yeah. I didn't even get to add in when I talked to our boy TJ of the JK, follow him on Twitter, that because he's the Monday Night Messiah, dude, layup, wear all your white gear.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. Go ahead.
I agree with that too. So Royal Rumble is obviously coming up. Next week is our Royal Rumble preview show.
Is it?
I think it's a week from Sunday, bro.
Holy shit balls.
Yeah, it's coming. A lot of things in my life coming at me fast. Same with you.
Seriously.
So
Tidal wave.
Yep. Big ass tidal wave.
30 hopes. Get them ready next week, boys.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yep. But I'm gonna blow one right now.
Oh,
Because
you're gonna blow.
there's the most exciting part of it is who's gonna be there. And we're always naturally like our hopes and dreams aren't gonna come true. But if we get one, like you take it and you run with it. But all the drama is about will Rousey come back in the women's and will Shayna be up, and in the men's it is Edge and it is CM Punk and it's all these things. But I think I saw TJ hint at this too, and I'm with him. This is something I've thought about too. There's one guy where there's pretty much no buzz about, but I want him back. I can't see him, but I want him back. It's time, baby. It is time for John Cena to put down his acting gloves and pick up his wrestling gloves, because let's get ready to rumble. If that music hits during the Rumble at any point, hell, even if it's just him coming out at 2, just for a quick 10-minute thing with Brock Lesnar, sign me up. Give me a hefty bag of popcorn. I'm Big E there. I'm all in. I'm fucking foaming at the mouth and excitement. I don't know if that's how it works, but yeah, I want me some John Cena. I want some JC. JC wants some JC at the Royal Rumble in some capacity. Give me a John Cena appearance. Hashtag JC knows. Hashtag JC's hopes come true. Give me what I want.
Okay. Boop.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
Pew, 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 pew. Ricochet. The reason why he's getting my comeback is because when his entrance started, I was like, this is what I want. I like this guy. I like him. I like his entrance. I like him. I want to root for him. I like the flippy dippies. I like his matches. So he came out. He fought Mojo. I loved it. This was good. I was like, yeah, this is Ricochet's kind of like had a slow start here in 2020. Doesn't really have a feud. I don't even think he was on TV last week. We know he's in the Rumble, which I think is good. But for me, just seeing that entrance, getting to enjoy that pew, 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 and the flippy dippies. Sometimes that's all I'm asking for in a 3-hour show is like, let me see my guy for 10 minutes. I got it. So Ricochet, you get my comeback.
Were they in Kentucky? I think they were in Kentucky. That's
They
probably
were.
why he was getting a spotlight there.
He should have
From
he should have a
Paducah.
bigger spot.
What is he from?
Ricochet he's Paducah.
Paducah?
Paducah,
I thought it was
Kentucky.
Patuki.
It's Paducah.
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 That's a real place.
Yes, Paducah, Kentucky.
Have you ever been there?
Have I not told you this story?
No.
I got offered a job there and I turned it down
Ah.
because I chose my
Shucks.
girlfriend who then dumped me a week later. Yeah. But I think I made the right decision.
You could have been Ricochet.
No, I probably would have been miserable in covering Paducah High School.
Wow. So I'm going to go on to something else. Sorry, I hit that button. My comeback goes to one Robert Roode. It was good to see him on SmackDown. He looked jacked, not steroid jacked, but he looked jacked, ready to go.
Maybe some residents.
Maybe, who knows? Maybe he's off the sauce. Who knows? So we're dealing with that, but I was nice to me, I'd rather see Corbin, Ziggler, and Roode versus Usos and the big dog. I don't necessarily understand this whole Usos revival thing. It was kind of odd to me in terms of like, is it so one-sided? There's going to be 5-on-3. We're not even in Survivor Series
The
mode.
revival have kind of been off and on with
Yeah.
Corbin.
They're court jesters of the king,
Yes.
apparently.
No,
So
they're not jesters. They're just members of the court.
sure, whatever.
They're knights.
They're not knights.
They're knights.
No.
They're fearless
Knight Ziggler.
knights. Yeah, Ziggler's like the top knight.
He's the Black Knight.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight.
The white knight.
The White. No,
Oh, that's
he's
a good
White
guy.
Knight. That's a good guy. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So look, I'm excited that Robert Roode's back because,
This is glorious.
it's glorious. Yeah, that's really all I can say. So let's hit that big finish button and let's get going.
We are moments away from talking about NXT, AEW, and NXT UK Takeover Blackpool 2. But there are a couple notes from Raw for next week. Andrade defends the U.S. title against Booyaka Booyaka 619 Rey Mysterio in a ladder match. All I have to say is
Does this main event Raw?
it should.
No, that's not what I
I
asked.
think it's going to kick off Raw.
Really?
Yes.
If it
Because the,
what if it's an
Royal
hour
Rumble
two?
is on Sunday. The ending
As
segment
in
will be either it'll
the
either be
brawl.
the Becky match or one of the two Rumble matches. This will kick off the night. This would be a good way to kick off the show, honestly. But
to me, I think
first
the ladder
week
match
not
is
going up against football, really. 'Cause the
I'm
national
just
championship was last
I'm
night.
really hoping this is a main event because it'll make it feel like a main event when the mid card title is actually being
I
defended
agree.
somewhere.
No, I agree.
I want it to be, and I have invested enough time in it that I think it should be. Personally, it should be.
No, I agree. I will say one note with Raw. I wanted to say this earlier with the Black Murphy is this match, the U.S. title match, and then this week's Buddy Murphy Alistar Black match are usually matches that would be jammed onto a pay-per-view to make it longer, and they'd get lost in the shuffle because they wouldn't get time to shine. That is a fundamental change I'm seeing with Raw, where these matches are paying off on TV, which I think is a smart decision because, like we said, that third match with Black and Murphy was impactful. If that was just buried on the Rumble card or pushed to like the pre-show or in the middle between two big matches, it would have got lost. So I will say like that this ladder match being on Raw, I think is a step in the right direction for the show.
I'm not excited about the mixed tag. We already
Yeah, we're not
talked
talking
about
about that.
yeah.
Jobberknocker.com. That's the website. You can find all the links to the podcast, iTunes,
You just
Anchor,
blanked. There
Google
it is.
Play, Stitcher, Spotify, archived on YouTube. That's all of them, right?
There's 5 plus YouTube.
5 stars, 5 flames. Speaking of 5, rate us, review us.
5.
We appreciate it. It does a lot for us. So hit that up. I already did the Twitter handles because we're everywhere you want to be on social media, as well as Facebook and Instagram. But yeah, on the website, a lot of exciting things. We're about to talk about NXT UK Takeover. Our boy, the real deal B. Cox, wrote an article recapping and giving his opinions about the show. It was a fantastic show. Also, the weekly NXT, AEW, and NWA Power is back.
Yes, NWA Power is back with Paul Luchadorini or whatever the hell
Yes,
his name is.
I didn't know how to say the name. That's why I paused.
That's fine.
Yeah.
He came out of nowhere. Wore a mask, came to me and said, "Hey, dude, can I write about NWA Power?" And I was like, "You know what? Yes."
Parts unknown.
Parts unknown. This man is literally an unknown, like Mr. America, with a mask on, just came out of nowhere.
Also on the website, our boy TJ on Sunday night or Monday morning put out an article about Tessa Blanchard winning the Impact World title. If you don't know, she won the men's World Heavyweight Championship for Impact. He gave his opinion on that. Good stuff. So check that out as well. So now it's time to Takeover Blackpool 2. There were 2 matches on here that I really care about. Dennis beat 7, Trent's over like Rover, whatever. Kaylee Ray retained a triple threat match, whatever. Tyler Bate, Jordan Devlin.
Tyler Bate.
Like, there it is.
Tyler
There it is.
Bate.
This guy,
Tyler
every time I'm just
Bate.
like, okay, I don't like. The more I see him, the more just the guy. Like he is one of the purest baby faces in all of wrestling. Period.
Big strong boy.
Yeah, exactly. You have the biggest smile on your face right now. Like
Yeah.
literally, like he. Not only is he one of the best in-ring talents in the world, along with Jordan Devlin. That's why this match was absolutely super hot fire. This is a 2020 Match of the Year nominee, in my opinion.
remember
like, this
TJ.
match. Like if you haven't seen it, watch it. If this is the only thing you watch it
This week.
because this match absolutely blew me away. The crowd always red hot for this, because their hatred for Jordan Devlin, but they also respect him.
Sure.
Because you remember how he came in the
Yeah,
tournament, no one wanted him there, but he is literally he's one of the best in-ring workers in the world as well. But Tyler Bate, he's just something about him you want to root for him. Big strong boy, Tyler Bate. It's just he is so good.
Yeah.
So got to check it out.
You know what's funny? I have a big smile on my face because there's not a lot of things that I enjoy. I'm not going to mark him, with the scarlet letter N because we know that he can't be a Nestle guy, so I'm not going to do that. But this match to me, it's so funny to watch it because I was going, holy hell, there's so much about this match that I enjoyed. And then they go up and they show Regal and Triple H and just,
Eating it up.
just loving it.
Johnny
And
Saint,
Johnny
the
Saint,
GM.
yes. And thank you for helping me out there. So there's so many people just enjoying it and just the posing and the people loving it and
So good.
it's great. It's I can't overstate how much fun I had watching that.
If
match.
you like wrestling, even if you know nothing about UK or are not interested, you need to watch this match because this match, if you like wrestling, this match is for you.
Yes.
Across the board, it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Next up was, you texted me about it. Just the booking of it alone, a fatal 4-way tag team match with ladders, I'm in. This is the other match I told Boy Cap to check out, and he's like, well, I love Spot Fest. I'm like, then you're going to like this match. It had everything you could want. And even my favorite part was that when they were putting Gallus on the tables on the outside, Mark Coffey just broke a table by being put on it. So literally, Mark Andrews whispers, we're going to jump together. There was no way that was the planned spot. They were supposed to go separate through the tables at the same time. They did the move together in that thin space to break a table. Bravo, Andrews and Websters. Bravo, Gallus. Bravo, Grizzled Young Veterans. Bravo, Imperium. This match was awesome.
It was a hoss fight for sure.
Yeah.
I had it on mute because I was I think it was either cleaning or cooking or something at that point because it was midday. But I was watching it without the sound on, and it was still a very interesting experience. It still kept me visually stimulated because I was just ready to go. When I texted you, I went, this is such a JC thing.
Oh my God.
Such a JC thing. And when they both flipped, I went, first off, I felt bad because they landed on Wolfgang's hip. Not I don't know if he turned or something, but I was like, oh, Mark Andrews landed on his left hip. Oh, God damn it. But good call. Everything about it was great. I was surprised that Gallus picked up the victory.
I'm not.
In my opinion, I
It
would
didn't
have
feel like they were ready to move on from them. They've had the titles for a while, I believe, but I don't think they're ready because I don't think they're there yet. I think eventually Imperium should get those titles, but
I don't know.
they're waiting.
There's something weird about it where I was just like, okay, I was ready for Mark Andrews or Flash Gordon to run up and grab him and get that good moment, or even the young grizzled veterans because I think the people would boo it.
Both of them have been champions before, so I didn't think they'd go, but I will say one thing about Zach Gibson of the Grizzly Young Veterans. If you've never heard one of his promos, I hope when we get to NXT, their Dusty Classic match is this week. I hope he gets a mic in their entrance because you want to talk about heel promos, he's pretty damn good.
What a segue. You could go into NXT.
So we're going to go to NXT now because the main event, whatever, Walter tapped out Coffee. Undisputed Era showed up and attacked Imperium, which was cool. Worlds Collide, couple weeks, they're pumping that. But on NXT, like we said, Dusty Classic, the Grizzled Young Vets. I like these guys. Versus Kushida and Shelley.
I know. Huge Alex Shelley mark. I am. I love Alex Shelley. When I heard the news, I thought, fan-fucking-tastic. Cannot wait. If you haven't seen Alex Shelley, the guy's got everything you ever needed ever. I'm so excited. If you haven't seen Alex Shelley, go back to TNA when it was worth watching, back when Kevin Nash did the whole I think it was a paparazzi thing that they were doing, the challenges with Alex Shelley. Some of the funniest things I've ever watched, not in wrestling, in the world. That's how talented he is. Kevin Nash and Alex Shelley were hilarious in that stuff. And even, obviously, Jay Lethal. But When I saw Alex Shelley, not only is he amazing in the ring, and Kushida and him work together so well over the years, that works too, but I don't know if it's a one-off thing. I don't know if it's just for the tournament or whatever, if Alex Shelley's in NXT or whatever.
Let me put it this way.
It's interesting.
They're a team I would definitely label as contenders because if you look at the NXT actual tag division, just NXT, it's pretty much Undisputed Era and your boys there, I forgot their names, the Forgotten Sons. Because Imperium, Grizzled Young Vets, Gallus, Andrews, and Webster are all NXT UK teams, which are in this. That's half the tournament. The other two are NXT thrown together teams. So I think these guys could have staying power. They could be the next challengers for Undisputed Era. But I would expect them to win this match.
I would hope so.
Grizzled Young Vets are awesome, but I think they're just a good heel foil to get these guys over. The other match is Andrews and Webster, who are like high flying.
Yes.
Taking on the team of Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne.
Bro.
This is the most random team ever.
Ragtag.
But I think it's going to work because they're just like,
hot.
Pete Dunne is serious and an ass kicker. Matt Riddle's a goofy ass kicker. There could be some nice interplay here.
Well, they've got to see something in it. They've got to see something.
Yeah.
So.
And I bet you they'll win too. I don't know.
Oh, well, it's a Dusty Classic. Usually tag teams don't win Dusty Classics.
Finn
It's always
Balor,
thrown
Samoa
together
Joe
teams.
won the first one.
Yeah, so there you go.
We also, Keith Lee's the number one contender for the North American title, so we have that to look forward to. But also this week, a women's battle royal number one contender match. They had the Dog and Pony show last week. We got Io, Toni Storm, Bianca, LeRae, Dakota, on down the line. I think this one might be a good spot to bring back my girl Tegan Knox, but we'll see. Who do you think's going to win that?
I just want Io. I want Io all day long, forever and ever.
But
I think
it's Io or Toni Storm. Is Baszler going to be in it?
So So I wanted to ask this question because maybe I'm wrong, and I'll have to ask the real deal B Cox as well. But did Toni Storm and Tyler Bate have the same finish?
It's similar.
It looks the same. Yeah. It's the exact same thing to me. And they were back-to-back matches, so and they won back-to-back matches.
No, Toni didn't win.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
She hit it. Though.
She hit it. Yes,
yeah,
that's what I'm looking.
Kaylee stole it.
Right. So when I'm watching that, I'm like, same company, same finish, back-to-back matches.
Yeah, but here's the thing: they are literally the two most popular wrestlers.
Oh yeah,
by far.
It's just odd.
Like they are two of the most over acts wherever they go.
Sure. No, Toni Storm ain't winning. I'm gonna give it to Io. That's me all day long.
Well, I hope Io wins as well, but I think it might be Toni Storm. We got a little AEW to get Bash at the Beach, apparently. It's
yes, a
phenomenon.
WCW pay-per-view.
We had last week, obviously, Moxley had in the great segment. I thought it was a great segment. Faked out Jericho. Smashes a little bit of bubbly on his skull. Thoughts?
I know that we're waiting to Revolution. Revolution's in February, so we're going to have a long time for this whole thing to happen. I hope they keep it interesting because, again, it's one of those you pop too early, then we don't care about the rest of it kind of feeling. But I hope that because it's Mox and it's Jericho that they know what they're doing and they don't have to do it every week. So I'm hoping that here's a thought process that has been thought out for at least to the end of February. That's what I'm hoping.
Sticking in the inner circle, I will say this. One of my favorite developments the last 2 weeks on AEW, who I'm really beginning to really like, Sammy Guevara during commercials with the fucking cue cards. Genius. Absolute fucking genius. I'm not changing the channel because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, more stuff like that. I like that. Ingenuity, new, something I've never seen before. Adding something to that character big time. Like, this is a guy I had no idea who he was before he fought Cody on opening night. Every single week I've seen him, I like him more and more. Future star.
It's a big deal.
Future star.
Big effing deal, for sure.
DDP, one of your all-time favorites, is wrestling this week. Geriatric, in shape, yoga jobber. What are your thoughts?
I did love MJF talking about how he's going to have to pull double duty by beating Diamond Dallas Page and then having to hurt his back by humping his daughter. I was like, holy shit.
MJF does hit the right
holy
notes.
Holy moly.
Promos.
Like he's, I think it's a lot easier when you can go that route to get to that point. But I don't even think you could give that promo to somebody else and it being as effective as he does it.
He says it with such like ferocity and like it's just
he believes what he says.
And I believe what he says.
Yes.
That's the thing that's like he never feels like he's pulling a punch. He says exactly what he wants and he is the same no matter what. Like he is an asshole.
Yeah.
Like he is a straight asshole. Like he says things sometimes that make you uncomfortable to hear and that's what I want from my heels. None of the scripted line bullshit. Like, I want to be like, if I was actually mad at someone and like an asshole and saying something, you might say something that is like off color, but it's like it's effective.
Sure.
And it makes you uncomfortable, and that's why.
Well, the match is going to be one-sided anyway. It's MJF, the Bunny, and the Blade, whatever, versus DDP, Goldust, and QT or whatever his name is.
No fucking clue.
It's not even. It's just a showing for those 3 guys that beat the crap out of the other 3. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a Diamond Cutter, a Pop. Holy shit, he's 65 years old or whatever he is, and he still looks great. And I'll be excited. Don't give that man a microphone because he'll go off on a tangent and talk to you in the Odysseus and the fucking Odyssey.
It's me. It's rambling DEP.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And that's to me when it comes to AEW, I love a lot of wrestling. I don't have a side. I don't care. I just like good wrestling.
I like everything.
I do.
Yeah, same.
So just don't. My thing is with AEW, they're romanticizing the past a little too much for me, and I would prefer that they become something that is different in terms of like not going to the past.
Yeah.
So that's just be careful of that from a fan's point of view. Please don't give me too much of a nostalgia. Spoon feed me it a little bit every once in a while. I'm okay with.
The women's division is a complete schmoz right now. Like this Nightmare Collective thing, just beating people up. Like, yes, we talked about how thin this division is, but like now it is just like it's a mess. And you know, you're gonna hate me for saying this, but the only character that like makes me giggle right now is fucking Britt Baker. And
Stop it.
Because she's just sitting in the crowd,
Stop
not impressed or anything. Like at least it's something. The rest of it is just like nothing makes sense.
There's a lot that's a calamity. There is. It's just, the Nightmare Collective to me is a waste of my time.
It's also a horrible name.
It is. So, look, I know they have the Japanese guy now. They said he was like a deathmatch guy. I've never seen him. I'll do some research on him. But there's just nothing about this entire thing that has made me. And again, I have to worry about it. But like we said, we have the Inner Circle.
Yeah.
We've got the Dark Order.
Well, that's
and
what
we've
I'm
got the
saying. This
Collective. There's too
Nightmare
many
Collective
things.
is so similar to like the Dark Order,
Yes.
but then like the Bunny Blade
Yeah.
Butcher people, like
Which
they're
MJF
also.
is.
It's like they're all too similar, and there's not enough to. At least Dark Order is kind of interesting now. I'm still not a big fan of them, but like what they're doing with them is what they should have done with them from the beginning. Like this whole like buying in bullshit. But it's I don't know. The only other note I have is out of nowhere we have Pac versus Darby Allin this week. Probably going to be a good match, but literally, like I said, out of nowhere.
And nobody will have any backstory to it, I'm sure. It'll just be a thing.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Is what it is. Give me a reason to watch. Give me a reason to watch. That's all I need.
Okay.
And I'll be there. I'll be there.
Got anything else? Any other news and notes, miscellaneous information?
I think I'm tapped out. I think the whole audience is tapped out. We went way too long. On that note, I am going to wrap it up. Thank you for listening to the Jobber Knocker. We will be back next week with more Jobber Knockery.
He said wrap it up. Don't be a fool. Wrap your tool.